If you pay me, then I'm not nervous. So pay me.
And it's not echoing or anything like that.
Oh, now we can't dump on the old council.
Oh, yes, we
No, no,
can.
no, 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 no. Okay. We're getting close, or and it's 9, so we'll admit
All right.
Whenever
She's
you're ready.
causing trouble.
well, yeah, you can start admitting this,
Wait a few more minutes.
and we're still just getting things going, but you can start to admit them. I might mute for just a second until until we're fully ready, but well, it's probably won't matter. So. Okay, yeah. See you. Okay, so if your phone's around, if Melissa can't get in touch with you, if they're having issues on the Zoom, she might try to get a hold of you or Shannon.
I turned my phone off, so
Okay.
I'll turn the vibrator on.
Just in case, because Melissa's gonna try to watch this. If something's happening and she can't get in touch with me, she might try to. Okay, just.
You ready?
Yeah.
Everybody. Glad to see you all come out and new faces for me, some that I recognize. So this is kind of our, we have a program and a slideshow that we're gonna go through. And everybody's gonna be talking and stuff a bit about different things. And at the end of it, that's when we'll take any questions. So we're just gonna kind of go through some things, and if you want, take a jot notes of what we're trying to do and for as a council. Okay. So at the very end, we'll take any questions you guys want. Just come up to the mic. We'll do it orderly, and we'll take anything. Okay. So we'll start with the overview. This is how we're going to be running today's program. I won't read through it, but this is our kind of our thing that we're going to go through and everything. And I wanted to skip the second one, but they wouldn't let me. So we'll be following this along, and our program is just going to run steady through, and then we'll do the questions. Okay. So I'd like to introduce council to you. I don't know if all of you know everybody. We'll start with Sean Langford. Sandy Metz, that I'm sure everybody knows. Dave Wilfon.
Not a counselor.
Not a counselor, but he's our public works. And Victoria. I'm just giving everybody around. Everybody knows Barry, I'm sure. Haley. And Mark Olshaw. And I think most of you would have met most of these people because they are from the community. Okay. I have to read it because I didn't write it for sure. And I would remember. It's just welcome back. It's been about six months since my first public address of the year. I'm happy to say the weather is much warmer and the public health restrictions are far fewer. I'd like to thank you again for all your efforts to get our community through safely. We're excited to be able to host you here today in person, in addition to the electronic meeting platform that we've had to learn and adapt to. Since being elected, your 2020-2024 Town of Beach Council has continued to show itself to be a fantastic group of people that are committed to working together for the overall benefit of the community that we live in and love. We implemented 2 regular council meetings per month, up from 1, in addition to the 3 council standing committees of Public Works, Finance, and Communications, and our intermunicipal utility committee, which is our IMU group with the communities around us. We've also held strategic planning and learning meetings to advance our goal of putting forward a well thought out and achievable timeline for projects during our tenure. I'm proud to lead this team through the challenges that come with the need to address major organizational changes to start our term. Although it requires us to take a measured step back and temper some of our expectations, we have a great opportunity to really ensure that the town of Regina Beach is set up for the most success at both the council and operational level. As a businessman, I know that you cannot be successful without a good business plan and without the right people representing your business on your behalf. You will lose respect and trust. As a council, we are taking the opportunity to look at bylaws, policies, and procedures in order to rebuild the municipal corporation on the principles of good governance and best business practices with you, the stakeholder, top of mind. I want to thank you again for placing your trust in me and our councillors. Our goal is to bring you the kind of information we as ratepayers have wanted to see and to deliver it in a way that is real and transparent. We hope that you will find answers that you find valuable this morning.
Janie was. Seen Janie?
No,
No, not yet.
Janie was supposed to be here to give us a report on primary health.
She's
If
a pretty busy gal, so we can
we can
maybe
carry
pop her
on,
in
and
at the end.
when she shows up, we can ask her to. Okay. So now, I'd like to have Sandy give us a little.
You can hear me. I don't even think I need the microphone.
As long as the Zoom
Oh,
can
Zoom.
hear- you're pretty close to it. but-
Am I okay?
You're okay.
Thanks, Randy. Just so that you know or remember, because when I look at the Facebook warriors and we're talking about, geez, we're not doing anything yet. We've only been in business since November 9th, a very short amount of time with a really steep learning curve. And we are excited to be doing what we're doing. We've been gathering information. We've been listening to people on the streets. We've been listening to people in bars. We've been listening to people all around. And the nice thing that we have going, if you notice, we have from the very young to the very old. And it's a good thing because when you have that kind of age group, you really have fantastic representation. So we are hearing from the young folks now, middle, old, and what we've learned is, hi Stephanie, what we've learned is a lot of information that we're putting together to have our vision. What is our collective vision? We were asked to do this mission. Each of us were to talk about what we thought was important to us and what are we hearing from the community. That was the process. So we all got together and we shared our individual visions. And then we put together one collective vision that we hope is representative of you. I'm going to read what the collective vision says. Now, remember that the collective vision is where we want to go. It's not what Regina Beach is, we're aware. It's where we want to go. In a perfect world, here's our vision. Welcome to Regina Beach, an affordable resort resting on the south shores of Last Mountain Lake. Our friendly, engaged community takes great pride in our well-maintained infrastructure, beautiful landscape with many recreational and business opportunities. Whether you are making Regina Beach your weekend getaway, your summer retreat, or your permanent residence, this destination is notably a place for all ages and a place for all seasons. With all this quaint town offers, it is a perfect place to live and raise a family and enjoy your best years in retirement. Regina Beach is a place laying strong foundations for a successful future. This is not just words to us that we put on a piece of paper and go, isn't this fluff nice? It's here in front of us every meeting. All the decisions we make have to be in line with our vision. And that's what we're doing. What you're going to find out today is where are we starting and where are we going? And then hopefully it will spark some questions and we'll be very excited to answer them. Thank you.
to continue to highlight some of the things that council's been working on. We've implemented a new meeting software called AllNet that allows a more efficient way of accessing and managing meeting agendas, minutes, and all coinciding information. It is also a more efficient program for the office staff to prepare council material, meaning less time is spent creating council packages. Council has approved the implementation of a service tracker software, meaning more confidence for ratepayers and council that concerns and requests for service will be received. You will be able to track the status of your request from when it is received to when your file is closed, thereby increasing accountability, which we're all very excited for. But this program is not live yet, but it will be communicated when staff and council are trained. And just a reminder that comments, complaints, and requests must be received in writing with your name attached to be dealt with appropriately. Council continues to focus on increasing the communication between the town and the ratepayers and keeping the ratepayers engaged. We've created a monthly newsletter, reestablished the Regina Beach Recreation Board. The ongoing design of the town's website is making it more user-friendly. Sandwich boards continue to be a great way to promote community-wide initiatives. And we have a new municipal flag that was created by a local grade 8 resident, Leah Degelman, which will be presented and raised on the August long weekend. We have a new CAO who has been working tirelessly, getting up to speed, getting council up to speed, and streamlining processes to create efficiency, which has been a ton of work and we are very thankful for. And we are working on a draft of the new official community plan and zoning bylaws, and we'll be seeking public feedback. So please have a look at these documents and contribute your ideas.
Yeah.
Since I've been on council, we've been going through all the bylaws. Some of the bylaws are from prehistoric times. They need to be reevaluated and changed. This is a recreational town and some of the stuff just doesn't make sense. So we've been going through that and it all takes time. Everything moves really slow that I've been seeing, and it all takes time to do it. And so everybody has to be patient, but we're working on changing the bylaws to make this far better for everybody. And we'll continue working for the full 4 years that we're in here. At this time, I'd like to welcome or introduce you to our new CAO, Victoria McDonald. We're very lucky to have her. She's doing an outstanding job coming in here and learning what she's had to learn. It was all real quick piled on her, and she's doing the best she can right now, and she's doing a terrific job. So I'll hand this to her now.
Yes, it's sometimes hard to believe it's just been a little over 4 months because it seems like there's been so much that's happened. Yeah, it was not been 4 years already. So like Barry said, I definitely appreciate your patience and understanding as I come into the position, into the community, learn as much as I can about the past of the community, in addition to the past of the municipal organization and the planning and work and projects that have happened and are happening and are in the plans to happen, as well as that dynamic of learning to work with this council, which is new to me and new to their role on as council for the town of Regina Beach as well, for the most part. So I don't plan on standing for the whole time that I'm going to give some information, but I do have experience in the municipal world. This is my 8th year doing municipal administration. I've got a bio and some of my other qualifications listed there on the website, which, by the way, has our emails, the office phone number. You can be thinking of something at the middle of the night and go, oh, hey, I really want to get that to the town. What do I do? Instead of having to wait till the office opens on Monday or in the morning, you can definitely go in and either use your own email, type in an email address, or use the town website to to submit a request. So I'm going to sit down for this. Everyone else is sitting. So what I'd like to do is give you a rundown of the operational side of things from that perspective. We've got the 2021 budget that was passed by council a couple months ago. The process will definitely improve. The goal is to have an operating budget and capital budget ready to go by the first meeting in January, so that we're actually working with that. Now that's a medium-term goal. We work with a lot of nonprofit organizations that have their budgeting cycle too. So it's going to take, a year-ish to shift things earlier, but our goal is definitely earlier than what we implemented it this year, and everybody's on board with that and working closely with that. So with respect to the 2021 budget, so it looks a little bit different, and in some areas you see quite a significant change, and those are highlighted on the screen. So the town has been using generally accepted accounting procedures, the GAAP procedures, so there's been no concern with that. However, there was an opportunity for our operating budget to ensure that it incorporated things that met that Municipalities Act definition of the amount needed to pay all debt obligations with respect to borrowing by the municipality. So not only the principal expenses for the loans that the council or that the town had taken out previously, but the actual principal payment. So now what you see in transportation services and utilities is taken into account the cost of debt repayment for any loans that the town had taken out for like the new lagoon and for the 8th Street drainage project. So prior to, everything was getting paid. The town, was not in any arrears. It just was showing when it came up in the audit rather than directly in the budget. As well, a correction was done to ensure that all reserve funds that the town has set up, so all of the appropriated surpluses, the money that's been saved to do specific projects, make sure that they're all completely funded with the cash to back them. So there was an asset budget account, again, from the general ledger, the accounting side of things, was partly showing up in the operating budget in the transfer to reserves line last year due to a reallocation of an amortization reserve. So it's an accounting number, that money is there, kind of a depreciation account that was growing. Previous council made a motion to reallocate that one large lump account into the individual reserve accounts. So that's where last year you see an actual, $2 million transfer to reserves, but not all of that was fully cash funded. So just to take that into consideration. So you'll see the 2021 budget is a pretty tight budget with trying to account for all of the debt repayment, as well as not having last year's slush fund essentially for in all of those transfers to reserves. So it was a $3.5 million budget for revenues and a $3.48 million budget for expenses. So, with the estimate nature of budgets, we as council, with administration's feedback to what the departments need, was just showing a $24,000 surplus. So not much wiggle room when it came to a municipal budget. So if you have the question of where does the money, the revenue that the town have, where does that come from, right? Everybody's curious because you see your tax bills. We've got from the taxation that the town issues, that makes up 61% of that $3.5 million. The remaining portion comes from fees and charges, dog licenses, development permits, that type of thing. 18% comes from your utility bills, 7% from unconditional grants that the province or federal government gives us that we get to use as we want. whereas 3% are conditional grants. That says you may have this money, but it may only be spent for this particular project or item. And then other revenue, that 1%. So the other element to consider, and they were sent out with your tax notices, and we have some at the front desk there, is how to read and what actually is coming off when you get your tax notice. So the municipality is responsible, but made so by the provincial government, to issue that tax notice for your school tax, as well as levying for the municipality itself. So it's separated on your tax notice. Anything you see that says school tax, ignore that as it relates to what you're paying and what services are coming from the municipality. We turn around and we send 100% of that back to the province for education. So that 61% that we see here in this pie chart under taxation is solely just the municipal and library portion of your tax bill. So when we get the money, how does the municipality spend it? The budgeted expenses show that 19% of the total budget goes towards general government services. That 19% includes all of the costs for council meetings, their remuneration, the supplies, materials required to do that, as well that like the computer programs, and as well anything related to administration side of running the municipal government. Protective services, fire and policing make up 5%. Remember that, you know, you spend tens of thousands of dollars for RCMP services in your community. So I always recommend people to do make those calls when you have traffic and, you know, infractions, speeding concerns, because that is where your tax dollars go. It doesn't come to the town office to enforce it. We spend, I think it's close to $50,000 annually on policing, and that goes directly to them to get the services that you have. So if you feel like you don't have the services in that respect, FYI. Transportation services. Transportation services is a municipal name for the department part of the department that falls under public works and utilities. So transportation services are sidewalks and roads, street signs, you know, anything when it comes to the material you're going to need to repair the roads, that sort of thing. The trucks, all of the elements to transportation services. It's not buses, you know, the things that we as a municipality have, that's what falls under there. And again, that transportation services is one of those sections that are quite a bit higher than last year, because that's where you will see that debt for the drainage project, because that's where transportation services, that's the department that it falls under. Environmental services are cemetery and landfill. Public health and welfare is well, environmental services is the waste management, public health and welfare is the cemetery. Planning and development services, that's for the zoning bylaw, official community planning, the staff time that goes into that. Recreation and cultural services, the hard work, you know, that our new recreation coordinator, Stephanie, has been doing, and our partnership with the South Shores. So we do share some of those costs to do programming that is inclusive of Buena Vista and Town of Regina Beach, but Town of Regina Beach, 5% of the budget comes towards that. 27%, that's another large chunk. The utilities, again, showing a bit larger than it has in the past. We're accounting for the debt repayment for the lagoon, and that's where, so water and sewage related issues fall under utilities. So if it's not roads and getting around, if it's usually under the ground, it's more so utilities. Everything else is transportation services. And then transfers to reserves. This council is very aware of needing to plan for the future and get things done. But as you saw from the slides before, there's just not a lot without raising the taxes to get any more than that $24,000 surplus at the end of the year. Yeah, it's tight. So then wanted to get into a little bit of the financial statement summary. So we've just approved the audited financial statements. They were submitted to the province before July 1st per the legislative requirements. But the effects of understanding the operating budget expenses are seen in the financial statement. So the town was not previously budgeting to receive enough fees or taxes to account for the annual cost to service the debts. So the town is in a good enough cash flow position that it didn't cause a problem in that respect. The town is just over leveraged. So it has more liabilities than it does assets. So you can see in 2019, though, we were over leveraged by $590,000, just about $600,000. And in 2020, still over leveraged, but that went down to only $102,000. The other element of the town's financial position that this council really wanted to highlight as it came starkly into their awareness, there's a significant amount of unpaid taxes and other accounts, and that can be utility bills, other fees that are related to that and that have not been paid, and they remain outstanding to the town. So this puts additional strain on the town's ability to actually provide the services and the project initiatives that are planned because the money budgeted has not shown up in that year. So if we look at those highlighted numbers, when we look at 2020 taxes receivable and other accounts receivable, it's over $700,000 less revenue than we like actual cash than we received. So we received $700,000 less than we actually projected to receive. Now it still shows up as an asset because it is still a receivable. So it still does help the town's position, but when it comes to cash in hand, ready to turn it out to, get those services done, it didn't show up. So again, when we look at the numbers too, we go, okay, so there was $700,000 less cash than we expected to receive, and we were over leveraged by $100,000. That's not including that $700,000. But it's not all bad. Like it's not all bad. It's not all bad. I haven't turned tail and ran away. There's definitely lots of opportunity. The council has approved a budget that's tight, but it's still able to be in the positive for operations. So you're still able to cover all of the debts to be serviced with the budget you had. And we do still have funded reserve accounts, but obviously, I hope obviously, that in order for those reserves to grow and instead of being used up quickly, the status quo on revenues or taxes won't be possible. I mean, receiving the outstanding taxes and utilities will definitely help. So, there's elements of working towards that the council has done. But that element of, yes, when you look at your taxes this year, unless SAMA, the association that actually determines the value of your property, had changed that, nothing on the municipal council side of things as they determine the municipal mill rate, base tax, mill rate factors, none of those changed. So if nothing changed on your property, your municipal taxes will not have changed. The province did increase the school tax mill rate slightly this year. So even if nothing changed on your property, you are likely to see an increase, and that dollar value technically should be the exact amount just that's going back to the province for your education taxes. Because otherwise it's an evaluation issue with SAMA, which the town itself does not we don't impart that on SAMA, they impart that value onto us. All right. So now we get into the project updates. What have we been able to do with the money that the town has over the last little while? So the town office has navigated the changes in a virtual and social distancing world. They've continued to provide service throughout the COVID ups and downs. Before I came on, they transitioned from working fully at home with, the occasional one person in the office to keep things running, back into the office at the end of 2020. So it has been difficult. I think all levels of government, a lot of our ratepayers are going to understand that situation where working in an office and being able to communicate immediately just wasn't there. Working from home can happen. It does present its challenges. So we thank the municipality for their understanding throughout that. And, my hat's off to the staff that have been there and worked all the way through that. It's difficult. Saying that as well, there's been staff transitions and training. So a lot's been going on. In addition to all this COVID staff working from home, we've had a full shuffle within the 3 front office positions in the past 18 months. So one person was doing this, they've moved over to this, or switched around. So there's new job roles and responsibilities. The previous recreation coordinator had moved to a position within the office. So now we have a new recreation coordinator, as I mentioned, Stephanie. Melissa's our communications officer at the front desk. So working with Shannon and Nikki on utilities, receipting, taxes, just kind of working as a team. There's been a lot of cross training, and that does take time. And everybody has been doing well. If you haven't noticed everything, if you haven't noticed anything, they're doing their job. And there's been a new columbarium, and we want to say thank you so much to the cemetery committee. They researched, sourced, purchased, arranged the install for this columbarium. On the administration side, town office staff then had to set up a new process for the niche purchases, interment, tracking, ordering to ensure that we provide a smooth experience. The new website, a full redesign, that was happening. It was launched to make sure that we have it up and running. There's definitely, like Haley said, more improvements on the way. And there's the option pay, a program for accepting credit card payments now available. And it's set up the way it is to ensure that as ratepayers, you're not having your pocket tapped into to pay the fees for credit card. So anybody that chooses to pay with their credit card will have the fee, but that's just on them rather than in the general tax revenues. Additionally, we finalized setting up the transition to the new Badger brand, remote meters. So there's lots of different types of meters in town. There's lots of ages of meters in town. So this is a program over the next about 10 years to change all of the water meters for permanent residents because they're not set up for seasonal. But that way you can track your water usage and the town can have accurate readings every billing rather than worrying about, we estimate one and read another. Training on the AllNet Meetings Pro, Service Tracker, and Connect programs to help, again, make things efficient and run more smooth. We're going to launch those soon. Council, becoming vividly aware of the outstanding, has also helped us as the office engage tax service. So they're a third-party company that follows through with the tax enforcement process. So we've been doing that, but it's letters you have to do every 6 months, follow through with the process. So it does take that element and that time resource away from the staff, and any fees associated with that go directly to the tax account, not coming from, again, the general revenues. And we've had correspondence with planning consultant on new drafts for the official community plan and zoning bylaw. So the public feedback period is almost now open. This might be, the dates are slightly shifted. We're still hoping for August 24th for the first one to be read. We're going to have these documents up on our website by the end of next week. Summer holidays, planning consultants, development officers, they are fairly hefty documents. This council spent hours looking at the draft documents,
line by line to make sure that they were actually updated. There was a previous initiative to go through and update the zoning bylaw and the fishing community plan, and there's supposed to be a much broader process of public consultation, but the previous company just did not do that. That's why this hadn't happened. It really stalled out because of the lack of communication and initiative from the company. So council hired a different company and different planning consultant to move things forward. So that's why before, there's any kind of rubber stamp on what was done before, it's being opened up to the public. So definitely we do want the feedback. If you have questions about it, once you get into it, please do call the office and we'll definitely help you out with it. It's, like you said, it's a big document, but it is your document and it's what council wants to put forward to say, this is the type of development, where and when and how that can be accepted. And they're doing that as representatives of you. So please do get in touch with us. So next steps for the town office as it relates to what you can expect from us. We've reopened the office to the general public with the public health orders that they've been lifting. But so masks are optional, of course. We do request one person or one family unit at the front desk at a time. We just have some limited space, so everyone's at different levels, and just to encourage that. But by all means, we'd love to see you there, and I have seen some of you there, so that's great. And we will be launching the service tracker and Connect software. So the Connect software, if there is a fire ban, or if there's an emergency water line repair, that type of thing, that would be able to get that information out to you. Now, for that, you would sign up. So once that's ready to go, we'll get all the information out to the public. It's critical that you take the initiative to get us your information so that when we do send something out, you're actually going to get it. And the service tracker is same idea, kind of as that email, 3 o'clock in the morning, and like, oh, darn it, this is really bugging me. You can go to the computer and launch the service tracker and send a request. But instead of an email, this is in this service tracker program that'll give you a confirmation, and you can, like Kaylee says, you follow that into completion. So more accountability, and I'm as CAO able to see the report. So if something's gone to the recreation side or the public works side, I can see how many outstanding requests are open and be able to follow up to see if there's a resource issue or something like that as to why things maybe aren't moving. And in council's review of all the bylaws and policies, administration is also working, in tandem, revamping the policies, procedures, and process to support that. And public works side of things, over the past year, public works and utilities departments were structured. So it's now one cohesive department. All of public works employees may have duties in either utilities and in public works areas. So there's cross training that's ongoing. The result of the restructure in one department is there's one foreman position for the department rather than 2 for a public works and a utilities separate function. And they report to the manager of public works and utilities. So all of the public works employees report to the one foreman, and that one foreman then reports to the manager. That manager of public works and utilities, Dave here, was acting CAO during the transition period of the former acting CAO and myself as the new CAO. So that was from about December 2020 to March 21, plus the time since then, assisting me through the debriefs on open files and projects. And you don't amass 100 years of municipal knowledge in 4 months. And so that teamwork and effort to make sure that I've got the knowledge of what's going on, and it is ongoing as we deal with all of the emergent things that happen in any municipality, such as water system repairs. So since the beginning of 2021, the town has had 23 system repairs, not including our major 5th and 5th intersection. So it's kind of broken down there for you to see. The 5th and 5th Avenue and 5th Street East intersection was, the whole repair itself was unplanned but required. It was planned to be a phased in approach. Open it up, fix one, and then assess it for the next repair. But It was a major repair. All 4 main lines failed. There was poor maintenance and non-standard installation that was observed when the repairs were done. It became a bigger job than expected, especially because it was all sand in the area and the water table was high. So the whole, just kind of kept opening up, and you saw more issues, and any valve that they went to exercise failed. So unfortunately, it went longer and was more involved than was anticipated. But the great news is it's now mostly all new, all 4 new valves, mostly all new main pipe in that section backfilled properly. So that infrastructure should last for a while. The public works projects, capital projects for 2021. So the sidewalk enhancement project. So that's a high foot traffic hazard area, lots of trip hazards in that area. So that's phase 1 that was complete. That was McMurtry to Fairchild Lane, the west side of Center Street. Next stage of sidewalk enhancement project would be planned for the east side of Center, Fairchild Ave to First Avenue, looking at that in the planning for 2022. The old 54 highway, the municipal portion of the Lagoon Hall Road upgrade was completed. That was planned to be completed, the final lift of asphalt, so that was done. The project is still open, so administratively we continue to work with the new build infrastructure grant administrators and get that information to them. Fifth Avenue Road Reclamation Project. So this is one that is going to be coming up for completion in fall 2021. The tenders are open for these two bottom projects. So from 14th Street to 16th Street East, the road will have a full depth in place remediation completed. So what that means is the existing asphalt ground up, recompacted with 100 millimeters layer of reclaimed asphalt, is then placed on as a surface. It's a phased program because the base that were set up here on our roads just were not set up to handle the load that's on them today with the amount of vehicles, the weights of the vehicles. So if the town doesn't take the extra time and investment to deal with fixing, some of the base, if you just put a layer of payment on it, you're just going to see that investment lost a lot quicker. So the water line replacement is going to be 14th Street East from 5th to 6th Ave. So that's just upgrading the stuff to code. So I'm almost done here with the project updates. This is an element that I just definitely wanted to touch on. It's been conversations that the council has had and administration. Regina Beach is a beautiful community with a large amount of urban forest, and we've got beautiful lake views. That's not what we get. It's not the typical southern Saskatchewan town. So we've got some challenges. We're not unique because we share the area with other communities. But just really wanted to mention, the town of Regina Beach councilors are your neighbors, and so are most of the employees. So your town council has spent millions of dollars since 2014 relating to repairs of the water infrastructure lines due to shifting, as well as on the engineering reports and drainage improvement projects to ensure that our community can gain control of the entire town storms water management. The cost of staff time that's been dedicated to preparing the reports for the Provincial Disaster Assistance Program, the PDAP program claims, and following up over the course of nearly 7 years is staggering. Just from what I have seen in the last 4 months and the knowledge about what's been going on. But we're hoping it's worth it. The town's in uncharted territory with natural disaster event. That's not just one point in time. There's much work to be done. Trust me, we know it. We feel it. Oftentimes it seems like nothing is being done as another rainfall comes and goes, and you've got the same situation beside, in front, behind your home or cabin that you see every day. However, within the town offices, there's careful consideration to drainage mitigation plans that have been in the works. Each section of the community needs plans conceptualized, engineered, redesigned, and then, like you saw before, wait for the availability of resources. Reference back to the audited financial statement slides. So the councilors and staff of today are doing their best with the inherited state of the infrastructure and the financial picture available to them. So it's not an enjoyable task trying to decide what area is going to have to wait longer. Nobody should wait longer. it's just that reality of without putting the town into dire financial constraints, there are few alternatives. So we do apply for grants. Where possible, we continue to be diligent with our PDAP claim files in anticipation of a decision in the near future that could possibly assist the town in recuperating some of those costs, because we tore up the roads, replaced the water line, because that's the responsibility of the town, is to keep your water flowing to your taps. But that comes at the sacrifice of the roads, because we dug it up, fixed it, had to dig it up again. And we haven't been repaving it partly because of the PDAP claims. We want to get all of those figured out. We need to know, we can't go layer upon layer of issues. The feds and the provinces have to clarify where we were at back in time. And unfortunately, we are frozen a little bit 7 years ago until we get this PDAP claim finalized so that we can launch forward, hopefully, when they recognize what we've dealt with. So, you know, we're not able to do that immediate action that I've heard, you know, from a number of people. We hear you, we're listening, and we are frustrated too as administration, as council, that we can't give you the complete solution. So we're in it together, trying to share as much information as we can. The goal is to have systems in place so to ensure the investments and improvements we do today are secure and last into the future because of good planning, spending for the most value, not the least cost, and prudent maintenance programs are put in place. And we hope that those who are in our places in 15 years will be building on the positive steps we've taken today with tomorrow in mind. So just kind of a little note on that respect, because drainage, ongoing need for improved drainage to ensure that the groundwater level is reduced, ponding areas are removed, stormwater is properly directed, and erosion of roads and alleys are remedied throughout the community. We are aware that this is a major need. The town has continually invested in improvements and is committed to ongoing investments. Remember, costs are high, so it can't be done all at once. Previously, the municipality had a $2 million investment in that 8th Avenue drainage program. So other areas of high concern, 16th Street East, 6th Avenue and Shaw Crescent Public Reserve, the 6th Avenue to the Public Reserve, we've got 4th Street West, also 1st Street East, 2nd Street East, and 2nd Ave to boat launch. Those are just 5 areas of, you know, heightened concern. The total estimated cost for that, just kind of the work, you know, engineering plans could be, you know, even on top of that, $600,000, and many more need work. Just because you're maybe not on this list doesn't mean we're not aware of it. Everywhere needs a lot of work, but just to put some of that into perspective and to really reiterate, you know, the municipality is aware. That's the operational side of things, you know, in a nutshell. Thank you for listening. I'm going to pass this over to, pass it to Randy.
I just have a quick,
Oh, sure.
I just have a quick thing to say. I totally forgot about one of our council members, Jared. He's our techie. He keeps us running. Right, Jerry? But if he's watching, I'm sorry, Jared.
Here's your computer.
We're gonna go.
Okay, we're Jane. Will you want to do yours right now?
You have to turn, do you know how to turn it on, Jane?
Then you can use this one. We've got.
You want this one, Jane?
It's on Zoom, they can't hear you.
Testing, testing.
Good morning. Good morning. First of all, my apologies for being late. It is baseball season.
Box of beer. Box of beer.
Sorry. Okay, box of beer. Anyway, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak about primary care center.
Before I start, I'd like to say thank you to Victoria. We have met in regards to the primary care center, and I really can't believe everything you've learned in the last 4 months. It went way over my head, most of it. And I see a hardworking group, and I'm very pleased with how much you're investing into this community. I've been on council for 9 years, so I know what it takes. So congratulations and good luck. So primary care, we, this is our, going into our 12th year. And we're very proud of the community for jumping in and supporting the primary care center. When we first started 11 years ago, we didn't really know what was going to happen. We were afraid people wouldn't show up. We were afraid that the word nurse practitioner would scare people off. There wasn't going to be a doctor. We didn't have blood services. So it was very nice after the first year to see how everybody engaged in the project and were willing to let themselves be serviced basically by a nurse practitioner. We have a wonderful group on the committee, and actually have gained another new person. And they have worked diligently over the years, as well as the past people that were on the committee. They can't seem to get rid of me yet, but I think they're working on it. Anyway, one of our members is here, Eunice Cameron. Thank you. So over the past few years, we've had some issues, which I want to address first, because I've had a number of phone calls and complaints about the fact that it's taking like sometimes an hour to get your blood work done, or the other one morning, the internet was out, so we had to do everything by hand. Plus all the fact that he had to clean after, every person that comes in, he's got to do his cleaning and change his bloods and do all the things he needs to do to take someone else's blood. So I received some messages and calls about that and complaints. And there's not a whole lot one can do about the internet. When I phoned SaskTel, they told me that they would come out. They could maybe get out Friday. This is 9:30 Wednesday morning. And I explained to them that I need it today. I need someone there today to fix it. And he said, well, if you're willing to pay $500, they will come out. They can't guarantee that they would be there before 5 o'clock. So there isn't a whole lot you can do, not unlike what council is trying to do. You try to get things done and you just don't have, the means to do it. So I just want to assure everybody that as long as we keep using it and as long as we aren't phoning in to Sask Health because it's taking an hour to get blood work, we're going to continue to have those services forever. That has been guaranteed to us now. And I hate to say it, but if you feel that an hour is too long to wait for blood services, the next step for you will be to drive to Regina and get in and then drive back. So, I don't want to be unkind, but I think we're very fortunate to have these services. Many of us whined, cried, begged, borrowed, and stole so that we would have these services. And I think that we should, just appreciate it a little bit and not be too quick to pick up the phone or to get on to Regina Beach Uncensored. That's a whole other story. Anyway, so over the last while, we have lost a nurse practitioner on Fridays. We're keeping that spot open because they have guaranteed us as soon as the maternity leave is up, if she doesn't come back, then they will definitely attempt to get someone in. Now, they put out 4 notices for a nurse practitioner for the mat leave and nobody took it. So we're short a nurse practitioner. But we do have blood services every Wednesday from 7:30 until noon. And we have a nurse practitioner and a doc on every Wednesday. And they've been very good about being here. Like there is occasionally the times when either the phlebotomist or something may happen that one of the nurse practitioners or doc couldn't make it. But please continue to phone in. Make sure that you are staying on top of your issues and letting them know. I can tell you right now that the nurse practitioner we have at this point is absolutely fabulous. She follows up on everything continually. My husband's a little tired of her because she calls him every other week to make sure that he's had his blood work done. You know, if she doesn't see it in there. Like, so she's very, very good at following up with her patients. The other thing that our committee has done is we posted the COVID vaccine clinics here at the hall. They have reserved the hall until September for use at any time. So we have hosted 4 clinics that were very successful. Thursdays, not so much. People are, I guess, either had it or stepping back or whatever they're doing. But the plan is to have a COVID clinic on the beach on Sunday, as well as next Saturday, they plan to have another COVID clinic on the beach. So they're going to grab anybody that's out there, and it's just walk-ins. We want to thank council for staying on top of things as far as the primary care center goes. It's in wonderful condition. We're very proud of it. We're still working on some improvements inside for, you know, some painting and some cabinets and stuff, but I'm sure that before the end of the summer, we'll have something happening there. That's about all I have. Are there any questions?
I just would like to say that the services offered are excellent. I've had faithful use of them since we bought them. The fellow who does blood services, it's bar none, one of the best. I've been having blood work done every month for the last 32 years. Believe me, I know who's good. And yeah, I mean, you can go to the city and you can wait for an hour or an hour and a half, same thing. So, you know, it is awesome that we have this at the beach. And I just wanted to say that I personally really appreciate it. Well, thank you.
Again, thank you very much, and I look forward to meeting you with you, Dave, soon. We're going to go shopping. And thank you all.
Thank you.
I'm off to a ball game. I'm sorry. This is really, really important, but
Thanks,
the
Jamie.
granddaughter pitches.
Yeah.
So just to reiterate, I'm Sean Langford, for those that don't know me. Thank you for taking the time and being here. I wish more would have came. Ultimately, some of the strategic priorities that we have, as you can see on the slide, we as council recognize our main role is to provide some good governance, government. To accomplish that, we've set out to clarify roles and responsibility of council and the CAO to improve effectiveness. Council's working towards formalizing a governance policy framework and making the transition to a single staffed model. Single staff model, basically, we as council recognize that we have one employee. That employee is the CAO, Victoria. She employs the rest. So when it does come to questions and concerns through the town, we would really, truly like to see it in writing to the town. It goes to the website, it's tracked. There's a paper trail ultimately, right? You guys are more than welcome to email any one of us at any time as well, and we will put those forward as well. But we do want to see it in writing, so it's your guys' words, not our words. Okay. The other reason to doing that is we're going to hold Victoria accountable. She's going to hold the staff under her accountable. That's what our main goal is. We need accountability in this town, and we want to provide that to you. So again, this allows council to focus on governance and decision-making through consistency and fairness at the council table, and the focus on improving and updating the town's bylaw and policies. The bylaws, policies, procedures that council sets is the framework for the CAO to work within, while they oversee the municipal operations. Next slide, please. We're ensuring the town of Regina Beach has solid plans for short-term, medium, and long range that are well-known and utilized is a priority. Sorry, I was never good with this. Create a complete asset management for the town. We want to know what we have. We want to know what it's worth. We want to know what the end cycle is so we can build for the future to replace this stuff. Land needs assessment, parks and recreation master plan, the master drainage plan, incorporate existing plans and finalize the plans in the works, finish projects that are on the table, move forward onto new projects. We want to review the bylaws and policies, implementation, everything needs to be reviewed. A lot of them are old, some of them are new, but everything needs to be looked at and gone over. And the committee terms of reference. That's all I got. Who's next?
Sandy.
You're up, Sandy.
We've heard you and we hear you. And I know that Victoria's talked about that and you've talked about that. I mean, these are the things, and I'm not going to read them. These are the things that kind of come at us kind of every day. But we make decisions for all ratepayers. And that's the important thing. Can I see the next slide? Because this is kind of what we get sometimes. How come the town doesn't do anything to stop speeders? Well, because there's too many speed bumps. There aren't enough speed bumps. The speed bumps are too big. The speed bumps are too small. I want a speed bump in front of my house, but I don't want to have to drive over any speed bumps. We get that. We truly kind of get that whole gamut of people wanting this and that. And our job is to listen to you, to look at all sides and make a tough decision. And are those decisions going to be liked by everybody? No. We hope for the most part they will, but we have some tough decisions to make. We have some really tough decisions to make looking at this budget. Would I like to do all the things I hear when I sit down and have coffee, or when somebody comes up to me and says, why aren't you? The answer to that is truly, if you don't know, you can ask for sure any one of us, and we will get you the information. If we don't have the information, we will get the information for you. But as Sean was saying, we'd really like everything to go through the CAO. So if you have a question, or you hear somebody saying, well, why doesn't that, please take the time to say to that person, you know what, that's a good question. Could you just go through the CAO and let's get the answer to it? Because what happens is so much misinformation. I want to thank the people that are on Regina Beach Uncensored who say, that's a good question. Why don't you ask the CAO? Instead of going on and on with misinformation. Sometimes I was saying to a friend of mine the other day, sometimes we eat our own. If we want to say we're in this beautiful place that we are and we want to tell everybody about it, I wouldn't live anywhere else. The worst thing I can do is get on social media and just slam everything. The worst thing I can do is go on social media, which can be a very powerful, good thing. But if I'm a staff member and I hear over and over again, I can't even imagine going to work. That's tough. So if we could, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir because I know most of you and I know that you're positive people. Please spread the good word. We do hear you. We're going to do the very best we can. The other thing that I'd like to talk a few minutes about is our volunteers. And people were saying, wow, there hasn't been much volunteering lately because there hasn't been much going on with COVID and whatnot. And I beg to differ. I got to tell you, there has been so much volunteerism going out here, people helping people in this community, that has been outstanding. And I want to thank those of you here that are those volunteers, because I know you are. Please, if you see the people that have been volunteering, say thank you. We are going to be thanking them. It's this Saturday is a volunteer appreciation breakfast. It's from 9 to 11 at town office. Council will be serving up pancakes and sausages. And we have, it's so interesting. This is how good this community is. Council is going to be doing this. And then I had 2 Lions come to me and say, you know what? We just love cooking the sausages and whatnot for the breakfast. So can we come in and help you do that? We'll set up the barbecue and do the sausages for you. I mean, that's what our community does. So we're glad to have them. The breakfast is $5 for those people who are not volunteers. So we're just asking you to identify yourself. And I know most of the people, but I don't know them all, and just say what you volunteer for. Kids under 5 are free. So we look forward to having you come to that. And I also want to mention that the municipal flag raising, I think it's Leah Dagelman. She is the grade 8 student who did the municipal flag and won the contest. We're so excited. The flag has come in. We're going to be presenting her with the flag and raising it officially at about 10:30 on Saturday. So we would love people to be there, and I know I can count on all of you to do that, so that's great. Last but not least, wow, a farewell to the Lioness. I wish I had a whole list of all of them. Done incredible work in our community, and Eunice, I think they're amalgamating, right, with there isn't going to be Lioness. And it's not that they don't want to volunteer anymore, they just quit. Lioness will be no longer, and they're hoping that many of them will join the Lions. But if you know the people that are out here that are Lioness, they're not putting anything because they volunteer for everything out here. If you see them, please give them a huge round of applause. And just on behalf of our council, we want to thank them so much for all the work that they've done. Without further ado, I think it's question and answer time. So if you have a question, we'd like you to go to the mic. If you would just give us your name and address, because if you have anything that we have to follow up on, then we have it.
Okay, I have a few questions. Is there anyone that doesn't know who I am? Kim Becker, I live 1304 6th Avenue. My questions are probably more to public works, but I'm feeling a little positive that you're still looking at collecting our PDAP money. Does that look to be a possibility in the near future?
Since this is a meeting hosted by council will field, and if they feel they want to pass it along to staff, then we're here for resources. So pass it back to you, Ken.
I have the information, but I don't explain it as well as Dave. But it is.
Thank you. We have a new initiative started last fall with putting more pressure on the provincial government, the PDAP office, who's well, I think we fell off the radar and the town was maybe not knocking on the door fast enough or often enough. New council has addressed that, and we are in contact with PDAP regularly. PDAP has hired a consultant to review all our claims. We met with the consultant on Thursday, and they're coming to the point where their report to PDAP will be within the week. How long it's going to take PDAP to review the consultant's report? I would bet it's going to be a month, but it's this year.
How much,
I have no doubt that we will have an answer from PDAP within this year.
you know how much money we're looking at, Dave, if we do get our PDAP claim settled?
We have no idea what they're going to settle on at all. We're in a position right now where PDAP's previous position is the town owed them money for an overpayment. The town has hundreds of thousands of dollars of outstanding claims. But it's ongoing, so we can't talk about the ongoing.
Okay, my next question. I want to thank council. I want to thank Victoria for looking into the situation of the public reserve on 6th Avenue. When I was on council, the main report we got from engineers was don't have any pooling water within your town. That's the worst thing for the sliding of our town. This has been going on. This is the 10th year I have been lobbying for something to be done in the public reserve on 6th Avenue. And I thank Victoria for submitting it in your 2022 budget. I really hope that we come up with a solution. I don't think it would be an expensive one, but I know the people on Shaw, the residents on 14th, and myself would greatly appreciate action on that. So thank you for submitting that into your budget. The other thing I would talk about is your service tracker. I am really looking forward to a new system where a public service request is put into the town. And it is tracked from start to beginning, but I would like to know right now, what is the process? Like, I send an email to the town. Is it date stamped, forwarded to you, Dave? The ratepayer is contacted, yes, we've received your request. I know you can't give an estimated date of completion, but is that process being done now? Because I've submitted requests and have no replies. I have a request for 6th Avenue that's probably 2 months old now. I have a request for 4th Avenue, which I haven't heard anything about. And I'm just wondering if you could explain that process from the time the call goes into town office.
So currently, without the specific program, yes, the email comes in. We have the Munisoft program PubWorks, and what the town has been doing here is using that PubWorks program to enter in work orders. So we get an email or something in writing, then the town staff take your email and your wording, and they have to log it into the PubWorks program to then print off that work order list for the Public Works Department to pick up. So we have a system. It's not the most effective system, and it does leave room to be desired when it comes to tracking, which is why the service tracker program that's specifically built for this has been, we're all kind of like excited about it because of what it means in this process just for streamlining. So usually we strive to get an email back to say, thank you for your email, it's been received and it's been forwarded, but then it's pretty tough to go back in the process to give any updates or feedback. So it is kind of like, thank you, it's been received and it's in the works. Sometimes we get requests for something to be done that we were going to do. And that has already, maybe that was planned early in the spring, but it didn't happen, or maybe that was something that's planned midsummer or late fall. And sometimes it just so happens that we're going to get to it, it's already in the works. So we don't monitor the Regina Beach info uncensored pages. If we as council or staff are members, it would be just like the general public to be informed of what's happening in and around. So sometimes there's information shared on there, and obviously we'll see it. And but if it's magically done, trust me, it wasn't because somebody had posted something on Regina Beach Info Uncensored. Either it was already on our plans, which a lot of it is. We just need to coordinate the resources with staffing or financial, or sometimes it was an official concern complaint request received through that email PubWorks system that the town office or that has passed along to Public Works or the appropriate department to get that done. So
if I don't have acknowledgement that you've received my service request, do I keep submitting that till I get acknowledgement?
So for now, you can email or call and just say, hey, I want confirmation, or the best thing to do might be in your email, say, can you please confirm that you have received this email? So then, right, whoever gets that, because the town office email is regularly checked by one staff person, but when we've got somebody off for vacation, that will change around. So as much as we try to have consistency with any program that's not consistent, you have different people dealing with it. So if you just request, hey, can I get confirmation that you've received this email? Then before it's printed or forwarded or copy pasted, thank you, we've got your email. That's kind of a standard process that we want to work into it. But When we roll out Service Tracker, that automatically is going to come out to you right away. So you're going to know the system got it. I believe it gives you a number so that you track your numbers, so that you can log on again, 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, can't sleep, go in. Oh, it's still open. Or, oh, wow, they must have closed that at the end of the day, so that you can actually see it.
I think for me, the biggest frustration is the accountability. And I'm hoping my Service Tracker that.
Like I said before, that's a goal of all of ours, accountability. Side note, we're all human. We all make mistakes. So it does happen sometimes. If you don't get a confirmation back, what's a reasonable amount of time? Give it 2-3 days, maybe a week. Send another one. I hope those gaps start getting closed, so we can start proving to you guys that we are here, we do hear you, and we want to fix those problems, because we truly do. We love this place. It's my home. So,
I think there's more to add to that. Next, that these items have to be prior. We don't have the funds. It's just not there. And
So what do we do in the meantime till we get funds?
you know, one of the things that you can do as a community member is to do some of the work yourself. I mean, I hate to say that. I know, Kim, you do, but I mean, there are some things that we end up doing. I mean, how many of you mow the front of your yard? You know, I really think that if we all pitch in together, working as a unit, we'll be much more effective. We can put the work orders in. They will be prioritized as we can, and we'll go from there. We have priorities, and we have a community that has many different priorities. So that's kind of the way I see it.
I appreciate your comment in regards to maybe we could do some of this ourselves. I want everyone to know here, I've offered to lease or buy part of the public reserve, and I've offered to fix the problem by pumping it myself. So after 10 years, I've been very patient, but I'm really holding you accountable to something being done next year, or please sell the public reserve to me and I'll fix it.
Thanks, kid.
Good morning. My name is Sherry Beer and I live at 118 Green Lane. My first question is, where do we find a copy of our town bylaws? Is it online on the website? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then my next question is like, who enforces the bylaws? Like, what is the procedure if you see someone who has an infraction against the bylaws and you want to make a complaint to town council to have it addressed? What is the procedure for that?
There might be a couple elements to your question. The first one, if it's just oh, I see something happening that is against the bylaw, a similar manner, it could be when we have Service Tracker, you send it through there. In the meantime, send the email to the town office. The town office forwards that information along to the bylaw officer. So town council has hired the commissioners of South Saskatchewan to enforce the bylaws within the community. It's a part-time position, but we rely still on members of the public to identify things. Now, if there is something that you feel he's addressed but not fully, or you are wanting more of a response, then you can write your request to council. Now, you can send a letter of concern to council for it to be addressed at a council meeting, or you can request to be a delegation. So that comes in all in writing, and there's a time frame for that. Usually anything as it relates to administration, if there's something administratively that we can do to assist you with that process, just contact the office. My email, is on the website. All of ours is there. But yeah, give the office an opportunity to coordinate operationally with the bylaw officer to get that information out. And if it's more of a higher level than that, a procedure, a bylaw itself, the way things are not being handled or have been handled, then write that and it will go to the council table.
Okay. I have one other question. I personally know of many residents in our community who are not online. They don't have cell phones, they don't have computers. How does the town communicate all these things that we're finding out? And most of it is all online, so they can't go online and look at the town website, or they can't do anything. So I would like to know how we include those people in the information that is handed out.
Thanks, Sherry. That's something actually we spent a fair bit of time talking about, because not everybody's a techie, that's for sure. And that's why at the beginning of every month now, everyone in the town gets a 2-page newsletter, and we kind of track everything that they're going to need to know and try to get it all on that particular newsletter. And I think it's now gone from a 1-pager to a 2-pager. So much of what you saw up here today was on that newsletter. And then, of course, we do the posters and the signs and all the regular things. But to address that, we do a monthly, I think it's the first Thursday of every month that it comes out. Am I right with that?
By that date.
Yeah, by that date. So, look forward to seeing that.
Great, thank you very much.
Go ahead.
I wanted to say one more thing when we talked about hearing you that I didn't mention, and I heard a little bit about it out here, and that's, please tell your friends and family that we have great meetings twice a month, and I can count on my 2 hands, how many people have come out to those meetings, and you get this kind of information. I mean, you get a lot of really good information, accurate information. So we'd sure like to see people come out. Is it participatory? It is not, unless you want to speak at a council meeting. Sherry, when you're talking about that sort of thing, you can make application at the town to speak at a meeting, and Victoria would arrange it. But just to come and to hear what the discussion is or the debate is or whatever is tremendously valuable. And it would be really nice to get accurate information out into the community. So we invite you to our meetings. They're open forum. I don't know if we're going to be doing Zoom and open forum. I think we're just going back to regular meetings. It's nice to be able to see everybody's faces and whatnot. So please come to our meetings.
Hi, my name is Debbie Wolf, and I live on 456 8th Street East. I have to thank him for speaking up, because on our street, and we have the yellow pillars now on both sides. We only can get one vehicle down there. But we understand, but we want our street to be neat and tidy. Our ditches sucks. And when you're saying that it's up to the taxpayers to pay for it, to be honest, we don't see a lot of town workers out there doing their job. I'm sorry to say, we see them driving by, it's like, hey, there's trees in the ditch. Yeah, somebody cut the trees up. How long does it take to remove a bunch of trees in the ditch? How long does it take for you guys to weed the ditches and that? Like, I can't all the time. My husband can't because he has MS. Like, really? I want people who drive down our street and say, oh, they got a nice place and all this and that. Come on, you guys. We elected you guys to get in to do your job. Another question is, it has been brought up to me, and I'm not counselor, thank God, but here is if you elected new members, why can't half of the old members stay on to help the new members? So they can understand, the new members can understand what the old members are talking about. There's complaints about that.
It might be a good time to try to address some of the questions because you've got some multiple questions there. So the first, to address your most recent question, so the Municipalities Act, so the province of Saskatchewan legislates the existence of a municipal council. And so that a local body can govern the localness rather than it coming from the provincial or federal level. So the Municipalities Act does limit an urban municipality to open every one of its councillor and mayor positions every 4 years for re-election. It does allow the rural municipalities to have staggered elections, but it does not permit that for urban municipalities. So if people were wanting that changed, which for valid reasons, like you say, that would be a lobby to the provincial government to change the Municipalities Act to permit it. The members of council can stay on and seek re-election, but it is the members of the public that influence who actually gets to sit at the table. The council can't decide that these people will stay this time and just open the elections for the other. So provincial government legislation is the answer for that particular question. And I know you were a little delayed in getting here. So we did go through a lot of slides with respect to the budget, the financial statements, some constraints as it relates to those elements that may have answered your questions a little bit, but it still, as operations, I do hear your concern about the need for maybe more attention to detail and being present in the public to do a bit of things. Councillor Oldershaw's comments about, seeking some assistance from the public is just that matter of when we do the math, when we send out 4 people to clear the ditches on, 2 blocks, that's going to take, the ditches, the trees and all that.
Ditches on Fifth Avenue that have not been cleaned and like,
Yes.
we all drive by it, like, really, where's
And
our money going? Really, where's our money going? Taxpayers' money going? We're not accomplishing.
Yeah, so I did bring up the slide, but let the council.
It's slides.
Yeah,
Well, usually meetings at 10, not 9.
we did address some of that, but, and we have heard you. The other thing that we've looked at doing is doing some restructuring within our public works and within our administration. And some of the things that we're hearing right now are promising. So we're hoping that we do a better job. We're all here to tell you, we are hoping to do a better job. We're looking at inefficiencies right now. We're looking outside the box at trying some different things right now. We need some time. Trust us to do the best job that we can do. And if that doesn't happen, well, you're stuck with us for 4 years, I guess, but then we will not be reelected, and fair enough. But I think you need to give us the time to do the sorts of things that you're talking about. All we can say to you is we're working with so much budget, so many people, so many priorities, but we're going to try to get the job done.
Okay, another question that was been brought up, and I wish they were here, but they have to go to town, is when they call the office and ask questions, a certain member will say, it's none of your business.
If that happens, that certain person should phone the town administrator and lodge a complaint.
But they did.
Did the town administrator get a complaint?
In the last 4 months, like since I started?
No, it's.
Okay.
the last one.
Okay, let me address that as well. We have a new town administrator who feels very strongly about communication and response, and she's been doing an amazing job. The other thing that I would say to you, when people come up to me now and say, well, I'm not sending it anyway because we never hear anything anyway. I don't buy it anymore. I don't. We have someone that is very capable and will respond. So I would say anybody that comes to you with a complaint, I would say to them, honestly, please phone the CAO or do an email. That would be great, but go direct. Thanks.
We're a new council now. We have a new administrator. Things are different now in that office. That's why it got changed. Because you phoned and it was ignored, nothing was done. We've changed everything there. Now, when you phone and lodge a complaint, it is going to be dealt with, not ignored. That's one of the promises. Because I was tired of that stuff.
Seeing none.
So anyone else or? Oh, man. Just pop over.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody, for coming. We really appreciate it. And we're always willing to listen to each and every one of you, anytime.
Sorry, Shane. You're on your own there.
Yeah, I know where you all live.
Unfortunately, I know that.
We're gonna end the Zoom chat meeting. Yeah, thank you, everybody, and have a great day. We'll see you next Ratepayers meeting.
I just want to thank you.
Would like everybody to do that has lifts out there so that they can transition better. And if you've applied for a permit, if you put your name, contact number, and what we even did is we put our application to that sign right by your lift. That way they got your name, number, and they're, write it down. They'll be able to go to that application and hopefully they're gonna get, so they're really trying to work on the shoreline so that people aren't just going out there and they don't know who's there and what's going on. So if you have boats and lifts out there and you don't have a permit, if you've applied to appropriate that permit for you, they just want a contact.
That sounds works.
If you left somebody